This is an Average Joe Media production.
Kofi Cooks.
Yo, what up? It's your boy AC, and you're now listening to Shooting the Breeze with AC. And we got a really good episode today. Shout out to the producer, to Roy, on the ones and twos, greatest producer in the world. And with me, I got the lovely, the beautiful Miss Diamond. Give it up, Miss Diamond.
Thank you, babe. Thank you.
I do what I got to. Gotta hype you up.
I appreciate it.
So today's topic is, can men and women truly be just friends? I'm gonna let that marinate in y'all spirit real quick. You know, can men and women truly just keep it platonic? You know, a lot of people say yes, and I found that a lot of people say no, and some people won't even entertain the idea. You know, just so they don't have no slip ups. You know what I'm saying? So what do y'all think? What do you think, Diamond?
I think my knee jerk thing is to say yes. I personally have male friends. You've met them, you know them,
right.
So it works for us.
Okay.
That's something that's possible. But I do think that there are situations where it doesn't work out. So I have respect for the other side of things. But personally, I think it's possible.
Okay. All right. What you say, Troy?
Yes and no.
Dig deep on that.
They only can be friends if neither one of them had a romantic interest in the other. But if one had, for example, right, this is one chick, I used to want bad, right? She ain't want me, so I wanted to be a friend in case she needed a shoulder to cry on,
right,
and a dick to ride on. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
No,
like
that's what they say.
That's what most guys do. We just wait our turn. Right. Now, if it's strictly to where we just like coworkers and we don't like it, like if we ain't attracted to each other, we just cool. Yeah, we can be platonic. But if one or the other has like a romantic interest in the other, no, can't happen. Yeah.
So with that being said, have you had a friend that was from the opposite sex that you didn't have any feelings for, but over time being with them and hanging out with them, did feelings ever grow into something?
No, most of my like close female friends I got, I'm not attracted to. I keep it that way for a reason.
Really? So it's never happened ever. Not once.
It's happened to where I wanted them, of course, but like to where like they wanted me, like no, because most of my female friends like either they don't see, because like I may think you're attractive, but if you don't see me that way, then I'm just gonna put you like you stay in the friend zone because you don't see me that way.
You don't push on that. You don't.
Nah, because you don't see me that way. So what's the point of keep getting rejected over and over again?
True, I feel you on that. But sometimes if some people would say you got to push a little bit, and then they'll eventually.
Yeah, but if you don't see me that way, and then we do something, from a woman's perspective, you're more quick to cut me off because it's like, oh, we made this mistake. Like, oh, I don't really. Yeah. I don't really like you in that manner, and now like we had already did it, so now you thinking it's more than what women get in their heads. Like we a lot more logical. I could fuck a friend and go to sleep just fine, and still.
I have a question though. So
Go ahead.
You said by design, like you pursue friendships like that.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work for you? Like how does that work?
For me, for the most part, most of my female friends like. We either know each other through podding or like we're coworkers or something like that. Okay. Like I don't just approach a female and be like, "Yeah, you want to be my friend?" Like, no, I got enough.
So they aren't new friends. It's kind of in the situation.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Correct.
All right. So have you ever had? How should I word this? You ever had somebody come up to you and tell you, "Hey, I know we friends, but I used to have feelings for you," or anything like that?
Trying to think.
Think on that. You never answered the first question.
Correct.
So, have you ever had feelings for somebody or have you ever had platonic relationships, and those feelings grew into something more.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the last pod actually, I was talking about a situation that kind of fell through. That situation was that we started off as friends. It was completely platonic. There was nothing there, and then there just was, I guess, as we got to know each other more, there just was a moment where I feel like both of us came to the decision without even having a conversation that there was something there, and we pursued that. It didn't really work out, and much to what he just said, it doesn't feel the same after you kind of crossed that line. So that friendship didn't continue after that point. But yeah, I definitely have had that kind of grow into that.
So, would you say, from a person that's probably going through it right now, what advice would you give them?
I think that thinking things through is always going to be the first step of something like that, because not everybody is able to cross that line and then go back into friendship. So is this a friendship that weighs more than what you're considering doing? Is this casual? Are both of you going to be able to be casual about it? All of those different things have to be considered before you're making that step. And of course, that's not always how relationship works. That's not always how our brains work when we're making that kind of decision. But truly, if the friendship is something that you value in that way, I think that it's super important to think about that first, because like I said, that was a person who, while yes, we kept in touch, and there were times where I still would reach out to him or he would reach out to me. It just was never the same after that point, because that interaction romantically, having not worked out, always played in the background of that friendship.
Yeah, I can see that.
Now there's been times where like I may have found one of them attractive, but we're not in the same state, so we just end up having a real solid friendship. I have a few of them like that. Like those are like my best homegirls. Like,
yeah, because they're just far enough that you can't really act or nothing. So that's why they
like New York, St. Louis type far.
Oh wow,
like,
Far.
But did you think about?
No, it's never happened.
Never happened.
Never happened. No.
Dang, Troy, I thought you was out here in these streets, man. Like with these girls out here, bro.
I mean, I was.
It was. Nice save. I like that.
And when I was, like, I wasn't looking for friendship. I was trying to welcome to the flow. You know what I'm saying?
True. So, what about you? Have you ever had a friend that come to you and tell you, hey, I know we just friends, but I've had thoughts of maybe pursuing. No, just me. Dang,
No.
Dang. So I guess I'll tell my experience. I had a friend back in high school, and we were just cool. And if you know me, I have a lot of female friends. So you know, a lot of the ones who've come on the show before.
Have any of the female friends that you had on the pod that you wanted, or they were just strictly friends? Because you worked with most of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. No, well. Maybe one.
That's fair.
I can think of, but everybody else like.
It was about like 2 on my pod. Yeah, it was about 2. I ain't act on it.
Yeah, no, I ain't act on it either. But it was 2. Now I'm thinking about it. It was 2, but in the long run, I couldn't see myself with them because they're not. I know they weren't what was good for me.
Okay.
It was lust at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I still see them as good friends, and I wouldn't try to jeopardize that, you know, especially now in my situation. I got somebody that I love a lot. But
that's cute. Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
You remind me of somebody who went to high school. I'm gonna show you a picture after.
Really?
Like,
Okay, I want to see it.
Yeah. But yeah, I had a friend back in high school that I just saw her as a friend, you know. But then years later, I'm off from college. I'm at Daytona. She's somewhere in college somewhere else, and she just hits me up. She was like, you know, I always thought you was cute. This and the third. I'm like, well, what's the point in telling me now? Like, I'm way over here, you way over there.
Mm-hmm.
Probably ain't gonna come back after you graduate. But most people, sometimes people do leave after college, but most people stay in the same city that they graduate college from, you know. So I just feel like there's really wasn't no point. But I've had people come to me like, hey, why we ain't never hook up?
Now, I will say the same situation, same person. After all of that, again, we stopped the romantic part of things, but we continued the friendship, or what I thought was a platonic friendship at the time. And he did the same thing when I moved here to Florida. It literally was like, I think the first weekend that I was here, he hit me up on, I think it was Snapchat, on some like, did you ever, do you still
Snapchat
type of like think about us type of thing. So that happened, but again, that was still off of that same relationship. Right. After that point, it never happened again.
Nah, true. What does your significant others say about having friends of the opposite sex?
I wish he had more friends of the opposite sex. I just wish he had more friends in general.
Does she be on you too much?
Yes. Like, she has friends, but most of her friends, like, she got a few friends down here. Most of her friends are back up north. And it's like, because I got a lot of, I got maybe about like 5 female friends that like I really trust. About 5.
Now, do you think they feel the same way about you? Do they trust you like in the same capacity? Yeah.
Yeah, about 5.
Solid.
Yeah, about 5 that I really trust. She don't necessarily have a problem with it. She be having a problem with it if they hit me up past like 10 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay, I can feel that because they probably just be on what you doing. Let's hang out.
Not only be like, let's hang out. They be like, hey, you busy? Like, I got an event. I'm up. But she be like, why they hitting you up past 10 o'clock? So that's one thing. Like, like we trying to work through. But
y'all working through it right now. How's it looking, bro? How's it looking?
It's gotten better.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, it was better when I was working overnight because I didn't have to worry about none of this.
Right.
I'll just be like, just call me while I'm at work.
Right.
But yeah, it's gotten better. I just be like, hey, listen, if you got something to say past 10 o'clock, write it down and just hit me up in the morning.
Good. I think that makes a lot of sense. And plus, it keeps everybody happy. Why she texting you? Why she calling
But I
you?
definitely wish she had more guy friends for real. I feel like every woman should have like at least 1 to 2 like really good guy friends. Because I feel like sometimes women be emotional and they don't be logical and they need another nigga to tell them like, hey, like you tripping, like let's reel you back in.
Right. I feel that. What about you? What you think? You think you need another some male friends to reel you in?
No.
Because you too emotional?
No, I definitely don't think that. But
I mean, you would say that since you know.
Yeah, I'm emotional.
Yeah.
But no, I don't necessarily feel that way about me. I get where he's coming from because, of course, that's going to always be the assumption regarding women across the board because women tend to be pictured that way. And it happens. However, I already have male friends, but I don't necessarily lean on them for that. I feel like my relationship with my male friends just more gives me realistic insight into what it is on a male's mind when we do or say or decide certain things. There's definitely been some times where I've explained my perspective of something, maybe on like when I've gone on Bumble dates before I met you, or even in the earliest stages of meeting you. Like there would be certain things that I would say in a conversation with my male friends and they would be like, but this is kind of how he probably pictured this, or this is what his thought process likely was. And it was just a different perspective because at the end of the day, I am a woman, you are a man, so it does work a little differently. So I do think that it is valuable. I have a difference of opinion for why it's valuable, but I do think it's important. And on the opposite side of things, I think that it's important for men to have female friends because of the same exact thing. I feel like it gives you a different perspective other than the perspective that you're used to being around. Because at the end of the day, we do all approach life very differently. Women are raised and taught a specific way. Men are the same way. So having that opposite kind of gives you somebody to bounce off. And when you're not romantically interested in that person, it gives you a genuine perspective of how to move. Because I feel like when it's romance, there's sometimes, especially if it's that early stage where you haven't really like acted on it or anything like that, you're kind of trying to be what that person wants. You're kind of more of a yes person for them. A friend is not going to necessarily, not a real friend. A real friend is going to give you the real. They're not going to just be a yes man.
True. So let me ask you, how do you think, or how do you feel? I feel about you having friends of the opposite sex.
As far as I'm aware, you don't have a problem with it. You've never mentioned having a problem with it. You've never said that there's a problem with it. So
let me tell you. No. Honestly, I agree. I feel like you should have friends of the opposite sex so they can give you a different perspective on things. As long as I know who they are and I've met them at least once or twice, and I kind of get a feel for them, I feel like it shouldn't be no problem, especially if the lines are drawn and they're clear of what situations are, So yeah. Also, question: do you believe that every now and then, or sometimes, that your friends may have freaky thoughts about y'all?
About us? Yeah. About me?
Yeah. They late at night. So she opened that drawer.
wow,
Teroy.
that's great.
What you think, Teroy?
Nah.
None of your opposite sex friends. You think they don't ever think about you in a certain way?
Nah.
Have you thought about any of your opposite sex friends in a freaky way? I don't want to get you incriminated. So.
Before we became friends, yes.
Okay.
But since we're friends, no.
So them thoughts ain't never come back.
Nah, cause like you'll tell me certain shit and I'd be like, yeah, that could never be me. Like, and it'd be shit like that. Just be like, nah.
I think that's a true thing for friends of the opposite sex in general. Like when you have a platonic relationship with them, especially if it starts platonically, there are some times where you have a friend where you know something about them that removes that romance aspect from your mind. Because I will say that things that I know about my male friends, whether it's about their attraction to me and whether they could be attracted to me, it's about how they treat women, it's about what they're interested in sexually. It could be a bunch of different things, but because we have those candid conversations, right, I'm not thinking about you that way because
but you have never seen,
I know too much.
You never just had got a red flag from a friend, like, whoa, hold on, where did all this come from?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
So how'd that go about?
I feel like, again, if they're your friend, you can check them. So I've definitely had friends who, I got some friends who are some bigger boys that don't like bigger girls. And it's just like, oh, you don't?
I never understood that because I like outside of her, I like my woman,
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But they don't like me like that. They like me like that, but they don't want to be in a relationship with me like that for the most part.
That's true. Okay. I mean, so, Roy. Well, no, I can't ask you that now because you're our girlfriend.
No, go ahead, ask me.
So I was just gonna say, nobody that you would consider your friend was potentially to be on a roster for you.
The ones that were long distance. So but the ones
long distance situation.
Yeah, but the ones that were I actually see you day to day, no.
None of them, not one. Hey, you see, you trying to keep old girl back.
But the long distance ones, for sure. But the ones here, cause once I see you in person, I can tell early on if you're gonna be a friend or you're gonna be a lover. And once I realize you're gonna be a friend, I don't want to even take it there. I knew this one chick that wanted me, and she told me straight up I want to be a girl, and I wasn't attracted to her, so I just told her straight up nah, sweetheart, this ain't it.
So don't get me wrong, I do believe men and women can have platonic relationships, but I just feel like there's always an underlying line sometimes. It's it could happen, but sometimes a lot of people don't act on it, for the simple fact they want to save the friendship. They don't want to mess up the friendship because a lot of people, they be friends and they become in relationships and they break up and then that friendship is gone. And a lot of people, I feel as if they don't want to lose that, so that's why they won't even consider it or act on it. But what y'all think?
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense.
I just feel you just can't say.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people don't know how to separate the friendship from whatever y'all do.
Right.
It intermingles. So if we have sex, now all of a sudden you got these certain emotions to whereas to me it could be it was just sex. but now you're like, oh, I like you X, Y, and Z. Like, no, we're still friends.
Right.
It was a drunk night. Shit happens.
And that's my other question. Can it just be sex and then y'all still be friends? Just friends who just had sex.
I don't think it's straightforward for everybody. I think it depends on
I agree
the
with her.
people. There are people, both men and women, because I feel like the stereotype is that the woman is caught up in her feelings and the guy is able to separate it. I definitely know of people who are the exact reverse. And in some cases, of course, that ruins a friendship because if one person, no matter which one it is caught up, now that friendship is always going to be pushed back in that direction by the person who has those romantic feelings now. So that's why I say, like, with friends, you really have to consider that before you take that step, because that is always going to be there. In the case of me and the guy back when I was in college, you know,
The guy who's back in college. Oh.
It's a story that I've already told.
I know. I'm just trying to make it juicy for this.
Yeah, you know, just build it up. But with that situation, his situation was more based on the fact that, like, the same weekend he was visiting me, he was getting texts while he was visiting me from his ex. And so he and his ex ended up back together right after that weekend. So it wasn't like a clean friendship situation because of the fact that, like, he wants to get back with this girl. He doesn't want to tell me because he wants to keep me on the, like, waiting list to see what ends up happening with things. And it ruined that friendship because now the fact that you dipped and didn't get back in touch, that's a ding on the friendship. The fact that you were definitely there, not trying to be just my friend when you visited, that's a ding. So, like, the relationship is different now. It was even different when we did finally repair things enough. Years later, we ended up being able to be friends again. But then, like I said, I get here in 2017 and you're messaging talking about, did I ever still think about you? Like, what? Was this happening the whole time? Because it wasn't happening for me. So
Because he's still thinking about you. Because I have to admit, I've been there before. Especially, like, you remember my last girlfriend. After we broke up, and for a long time, I was like, what's up? What you doing?
With her?
Yeah.
I was like that with Brett for a long time, too.
Even after the breakup, right? Yeah,
really up until, when did I meet? I met TR, what, May of 20? It's been, 3 years now? So 2022. I ain't even really get over Brit, to be honest with you, until about May of 2023. And we broke up we broke up October of 2021.
Yeah,
It takes a while.
It takes time because I think me and the old girl broke up back in 2020.
Y'all broke up, I think either
2022.
Yeah, I think 2022.
2022. I think that's around the time we broke up. And then, like, I didn't jump back into the game until, like, 2020. The end of 2023. But with that being said, since we talking about exes, do you think it's okay to still be friends with your ex?
now that is where I do think that things can get a lot messier. Yeah. So in my personal opinion, my own personal philosophy, it's not something I put on anybody else. We've had this conversation before with our relationship because it's a little different. You have some cordialness with some of your exes, but not most of your exes. I'm done with my exes when the relationship is done. I will say that none of my exes and I started as friends, so I think that that makes a difference because I do think that there are definitely people out there. I don't understand it, but there are people out there who started in relationship as something else, friends, whatever it is, moved into a romantic relationship and then decided, I guess, to end things because it just didn't work or whatever. Mm-hmm. That is basically the only situation where I really truly understand it, because to me, if it started romantically and we're over, I just think we're over. But I don't think that that is fair to put on you or the other person in the relationship. So I don't require that of you. But for me personally, I'm not your friend.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess if y'all didn't start off as friends, y'all just started off as trying to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
I can feel that. But me, on the other hand, I feel as if, okay, we broke up, right?
Yeah.
I feel as if once we date, you are my friend. You know,
True.
Maybe going while we're dating,
friend,
and then especially when we become boyfriend and girlfriend officially, I hold you at a higher regard because you're not at friend level, but I feel like you're past the friend level.
So there's
in
a
a relationship, so
there
there
on
is
top of it. Yeah.
a friendship there. So when even old girl, we don't talk like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Blah 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 blah. It's more like, hey, this is that funny video. And you know they wrong for that. Da 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 da. And da da da. And then her birthday come around, happy birthday. Or like that's at most as it goes.
Does she say happy birthday to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just
I had to stop saying happy birthday because she didn't say it back to me.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, no.
That's
Like
over with.
she dead ass cut me off completely. Like,
and she's probably like me because that's what I was explaining. When it's over for me, it's over for me.
And what my question was for her was, how do you feel about being friends with your exes?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Because I can separate the friendship from the relationship.
Right.
But like, cause me and Brett, we just had a conversation, like a real ass conversation. Probably like our first real ass conversation about what really happened this past January.
See, and that's another thing. I feel as if, even though I'm cool and, like she said, cordial with my exes, I've never had that, I wouldn't say like conversation for closure or conversation for like to discuss really what happened. It was just like cut dry.
Yeah.
But also I would say that none of my exes I've had like those, oh, I hate you, da 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 da, bad breakup. It was just more, it was always, every last one of them was like a mutual, like, hey, it's just, it's not what it is. And so it's never got to a point where like, oh, loud bickering, blah, blah, blah. I hate him every time I see her, F her, da, da, da. It's more like, oh, what's up? See you around. Hope you're doing good. That's what your mama said.
Now, I did have a situation to where I had a former best friend.
Yeah.
And I fucked her.
Ooh.
A few times. I was single then, I ain't gonna hold you. But I hate her guts. So. I hate her guts now. I absolutely hate her guts.
And that was your friend.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Now you hate her guts. That's
crazy. It wasn't because of the sex. It was because some other shit that went down. It was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, but see, so now it's just like, now you said you hate her guts, and that's why like I feel like I don't ever want to get to a place where I say I hate somebody.
Oh, like like if she went to hell, I would not care. Like it's that type of hate. Like
you see, and that's like I think I just don't have that type of bone in my body, to be like, oh, I hate you. I don't ever see you in my life again. I mean, I don't have to see you again in my life, but I wish you well, And I feel like in past relationships, people will be like, oh, why are you still friends with your exes? And I'm like, it's not necessarily be friends. It's just, I'm cordial. And people feel as if the breakup should have been like, F her, da, da, da,
yeah, but not every breakup needs to.
And that's what I've been trying to explain to people. It's not, every breakup is not like that, But most people I know always be like, every relationship that they've been in, it's been like that. It's never been like, hey, you agree on it, I agree on it, so let's just cut ties. But I don't know. I feel like it's hard to bring that across to people to let them understand that I don't hate none of my exes. It's just I just wish them well, and you do your thing over there, I'm gonna do my thing over here. But some people just don't seem like they can grasp that. What you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think that definitely influences the way that people kind of handle whether they can still be friends with their exes or handle the idea of what you do with an ex after they're identified as an ex. For me personally, I have not ever had that either. I'm just not going to get elevated like that. I'm not yelling at you. I'm not telling you I hate you. You're not cussing me out. I'm not cussing you out. That's just not, that isn't an option in how people engage with me. Right. So that isn't even why I don't keep in touch with them. There isn't even really a strong why. For me, it's just no. Like the minute that has been severed, I don't wish to be your friend. I didn't enter into this relationship with a plan to be your friend.
Right.
So I don't need you to still stay around. And I don't care that it's your birthday, not because I hate you. I just don't care because it's not my problem. It's not my investment. So I wish you well. I sincerely do. Actually, in the last relationship, that's the closest we got to fighting and yelling. I had, he was pretty mad. He was very upset about the fact that, I wasn't putting as much in as he wanted into the relationship. So it upset him even more that I was the one that came to the table with the breakup conversation. So that had him elevated. And I think it threw him off that I didn't bring him his things. Like, I know you're supposed to put stuff in the box and take the box to the house and then have a conversation. I shipped his stuff. We never had another conversation after that. I shipped his stuff to him. He could not reach out to me by phone.
Y'all break up here, and that's what you gotta look forward to. God damn, she gonna ship your shit.
Hey, look.
She's shipping that. She ain't even shipping that shit FedEx. She shipping that shit 3-day select, nigga. Like,
come on DHL.
Hey, yo.
Not even
Put it in the box.
Not even the U.S. mail. It's gonna be.
I don't even remember how I shipped it. It might have been U.S. mail.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
USPS.
It came.
You gonna throw your stuff against the wall?
Damn, she didn't even care. She didn't even have enough consideration to be that shit be FedEx. At least they handle that shit with care. For real.
I mean, I wasn't gonna invest. I told you I'm not invested. I'm not invested. I'm just giving you back your things.
I mean, but I can appreciate a person like that though. At least, even if you don't feel like we need to be friends, at least you are, well enough to cut it dry, straight down the line. Sever ties, over there, peace. I can respect a person like that. But what I can't stand is a person who say they want to be cordial afterwards, and then they want to start do little hints and like do a little brush up against you and stuff like that.
I think that's a common issue. That is a common issue. Yeah.
Because especially like me, and I feel like people they take advantage of people like me. Oh, he still want to stay in contact. That must mean something. No, it's just I don't hate you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate you. It's hey, what's up? Bye. Ain't nothing more, nothing less. And I feel like I want to put that across, but sometimes it just go right over people's head.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he still want me? No,
I don't.
No, I don't. I really don't, sweetheart. I'm on to something better, way better. So, is there a? Okay, let's get out of we're in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
Has there ever been a person that you feel like you just could not have a platonic relationship with? No matter how cool you think y'all could be, you just couldn't keep it platonic. Like that y'all can start off platonic, but things is gonna lead to something else.
Nah, I never had that.
No,
I don't think so either.
I'm doing this just down bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll say because there's people that I've interacted with that I know I just like I have to stay clear of. I have to don't talk to them, stay over here, and they always come. Oh, you mean? Because like even my resting face, I should be. Oh, you mean? Like, I'm like, well, that it keeps the weak people away. So you think I mean? You stay over there. So nothing. So no. Dang.
No, I really don't think so. The only example I really have is that one person, and like I said, once things went left, there was no for me there was no that, and I don't think that my friends. It's not like I consider any of the male friends I've made over time unattractive or undesirable. I didn't see them that way. They were my friends, and like I said, when you get to know somebody with the intent for romance, there are things that you just simply don't share about all kinds of things that might color whether I then am interested. And I feel like of the guys that I've gotten to know more as friends, there were usually things that would just not make it be a fit for me. Like I can think of like the guys that I used to work with, for example, would frequently be like, they were open to girls their age, which would be my age at that time, but also would be dating like 18-year-olds, and we're in our like near 30s. That kind of stuff. That's weird. I do too, and so that would color how I looked at them, even when they could be perfect in a lot of other ways, but I would just be like, but why why that? And there would be even more problematic things than that just would not make them a fit. That I just would, like, I'm not putting nobody's business out on the street, but
this ain't the street, this the pod.
This is the street.
Put it out in the pod.
No. But there were other things where I would just be like, yep, so this is a friend is all this can be, and it couldn't even be a close friendship because there were certain things where I just like I don't like that. I'm not into that. So
not even real close, like just like a buddy. No, just
No.
like a little bit. No,
just a little bit.
Dang. So we know where you stand. Once it's over, it's cut and dry.
Yeah,
It's a wrap.
I'm sorry,
but I feel like this, like I said, that might be for the best for some situations, because I feel like that back and forth. We on, we off. We on,
Yeah.
we off. We
I don't-
on, we off.
not
And
that. Nah.
And I did that once in life, for about my first 2 years in college with my high school ex. And it was just at that point I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. And plus, you live way over here, and I'm up in here now. I just can't. We can't do it. So Troy, what? Any other comments on platonic friendships and if they can be more, or they could just stay right there?
No.
No. Okay. What? And Diamond, what you any more?
No.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap this one up. We're gonna wrap this one up, man. I had my plot points. I done ran through them real quick. I answered them. So I mean, but any last thoughts though before we go? Anything you want to tell people that are watching? I would say you should know who you are first. And
I can get with that. I can buy that.
yeah, know who you are and you know how you handle things. So if you know if you're going to be attached to this person even though y'all broke up or whatever, and you know that's how it's going to be, just cut it clean dry. You know what I'm saying? And be real with yourself. And if you know that this person could just be a friend, then let it be that way. You know what I'm saying? And if you know that you finna fall for this person, then know what's best for you. Know if you need to just stay away or maybe try to pursue something, but I don't know. I think you should always try to preserve that friendship, and I feel like even what we're doing now, I feel like even though we started dating, I feel that we've built a friendship.
of course.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say. Know who you are and know what you can handle. And you don't want to end up getting yourself in a situation that you don't know how to get out of. What you say, Troy?
Yeah. Yeah. Essentially the same. It hurts harder though, like when y'all are together and you establish that friendship.
Yes.
Oh, that shit hurts worse. I'd rather like just be with somebody and not really establish like a base friendship, but not like a real foundation. Cause it's like, damn, you break up with him. It's like, I done broke up with my best friend. It's like, that shit hurt.
And that's why I feel like that it took, I guess, you and me that long to get back into the dating situation. Because like I said, I broke up.
I didn't know what to get back in dating situation. Warren just happened to be dating her best friend at the time.
So
And
when you went for it, that you was back in it. You know what I'm saying? So, but that time period from when you ended until you got with her, that was like what, 2, 3, 4 years?
it was about a year.
About a year?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just me that be going through it heavy.
No, so we started dating. So we broke up October 2021. By May of 2022, me and her went on a first date, but we didn't get together until July of 2023.
So yeah, okay. So like I said, it's me because like I said, me and old girl broke up back in 22. Me and you started dating last year. Mm-hmm. So I guess 2 years. It took me to be like, all right, it's time to move on.
Yeah, there's no timetable on it.
Yeah.
Not
And
at all.
speaking of that is a topic for another episode. How long is it to wait? Or how long do you know it's time for you to jump into the dating pool again? That's another episode. But yeah, and anything you want to say to wrap up?
Just to go back to that point of communicating and considering what it is you stand to lose if you decide to cross those boundaries with a friendship. Because I know, like he said, you lose 2 people in that situation. You lose your best friend, you lose that person you built that relationship with. So not to throw that away, not to do something that's going to destroy it. So I mean, if it seems like it's gonna work out, it might be worth it. But if you truly are not sure, consider whether or not those pros are worth it.
All right, so can men and women truly be friends? Answer is yes, but know who you are.
Yes, but.
Yes, but all right. So Roy, where they can find you at, man?
Hey man, the original Playmaker on Instagram, Average JTPC on Instagram for the podcast, Baby Daddy Chronicles Pod, and then the YouTube is the Average Show Media LLC. Yeah, there we
Hey,
go.
you need to put me on the Baby Daddy Chronicles. I feel like I'm the stepdaddy of the year.
I got you. You got kids?
No, that's the crazy part.
Oh.
She don't have kids, but she's taking care of like a kid that's pretty much
That's
her
true.
kid.
I am
Stepdaddy
a guardian
of the
and
year.
caretaker.
Okay, we can do that.
Of the year.
We can do that.
No, but you ain't on social media.
Yeah, you can't find
you
me.
going
Don't-
through your thing right
don't
now.
look for me.
Don't, but just if you see it in the streets, just be like, hey.
See me in the street, shorty, you don't know me.
When you holler, when you speak. Anyway, and of course you can find me at ACDub90, and you can follow the show at Shooting the Breeze with AC on all social media platforms. And until next time, stay breezy.